Hello, I am Shaughnessy, and I will be talking about the new moon that is March 13th, and it is in Pisces. So for Taurus rising, which is the one I'm going to work on right now, is the new moon falls in your 11th house. So your 11th house, the ruler of the 11th house is actually Aquarius. But because of your chart with Taurus rising, Pisces falls on your 11th house. So this new moon would be about spirituality for you. And because it's the 11th house is your hopes, your dreams, your friends, groups, organizations, and astrology, long-term goals, humanity, helping humanity to move forward. So the type of groups that you might be interested in would be anything that has to do with mysticism, spiritual groups, self-help groups, nonprofit, artistic groups, religious, missionaries, anything in that spiritual, humanitarian kind of groups is what you would gravitate to, or anything that is kind of rebellious or outside of the box, outside of the normal. You like eclectic people. Sorry, I can't say that word. But because the new moon is falling in there, and right now Neptune is there, and so is Venus. So Venus represents money, artistic arts, values, love, relationships, beauty, and sensibility, that you might meet your next partner at a group or organization like this, so that you would be meeting people like-minded. And then with the Neptune, or maybe you're going to start doing artwork and selling your art. The Neptune that's falling in there conjunct the new moon right now in Pisces. That would be any spirituality. It's illusions. Neptune can be that rose-colored glasses, not seeing things as they really are. You're seeing them on a different level. So it can also be the empath. Watch your dreams, because your dreams would be highlighted. The other thing to look for right now is any addictions. Do you have addictive behavior? Smoking, drinking. It could even be you focus on one thing and that's it. Like go through a thing that's all you want to do is paint, or all you want to do is sew. So those can be addictive personalities if everything else in your life gets ignored, that you're just addicted to that one thing kind of thing. And it doesn't mean it's really bad, but what are you not keeping in balance? And then the sun and moon, the new moon, it actually represents the ego, your identity, with the moon meaning your emotions, and the sun bringing things to light. So is there something that you're not looking at that you're feeling emotionally? It could be it's definitely a highlight in intuition. So pay attention to your guidance. Are you being pushed towards something? Don't ignore it. And it's also creativity. And also with that, the sun is creative. So with Neptune and Venus there, you might start a new level of anything that you do artistically. It could be your writing could reach a new level. It could be writing something about your spirituality, bringing your truths out also. So these would be the kind of things that you, at the new moon, if you do a ritual, setting an intention at the new moon so it can come um, to head at the full moon at the end of the month. Now the other areas in your chart that's being triggered is your 10th house of career. Now the ruler of the 10th house is Capricorn, but what is on your 10th house would be Aquarius. So the 10th house is about career, authority, success, your goals, your public standing, and then mix that in with the Aquarian energy. That would be, you'd be more inventive, maybe work more independently, be more detached, maybe start being an astrologer because Aquarius is astrology. You might be a little more on the progressive side in your career, or a rebel. Maybe helping the underdog, maybe getting involved in a union, taking up a cause. It's also very intellectual, so maybe working on something more with your mind instead of, your physical body, that it's more mind work at career. And the planets that will help with that are actually, you have Saturn in there, Jupiter, and Mercury. So all in Aquarius. So Saturn can represent a teacher. So you might start teaching other people at work. It's also limitations, so you might feel a little limited at work. But with Jupiter there and Mercury, you might be able to voice and get help with anything that you feel limited at work, and work as a group. Saturn is also fate and karma, so any fated events might happen at work. But you're also, with that Saturn, can have the attitude of perseverance. You don't give up easily, okay? If you've done a solid foundation with your career, then you should be okay through this. And with Jupiter there, Jupiter brings good luck. It brings fortune. It's knowledge. It's about money. It's about wisdom. So all of those would be incorporated in your 10th house of career right now. And then that Mercury is about communication. So are you doing more writing at work? Are you finding a new way of communicating? Are you having to do public speaking, teach a class kind of thing? And it's also travel. So those are some things that you might want to focus on the new moon here. Now moving to the 9th house, the ruler is Sagittarius, and that is examining your beliefs systems, examining your philosophies, religion, spirituality, higher education. That may be going to college. It could be higher spiritual education. It's also publications, so getting things published. Sorry. And again, long-term journeys. Now, Pluto is actually in your 9th house in Capricorn, and Pluto is the transformation. It's going into the depths, bringing up what needs to be healed, and becoming that phoenix out of the ashes. So it kind of, if you work with tarot, that would represent like the Tower card, a breaking down so you can rebuild your belief systems, or your higher education, your truths. Are they really your truth, or is it somebody else's truth that you've accepted, but then you're realizing, no, this isn't my truth. So going deep to find your truth. And it's also mass consciousness and endings and new beginnings. So what needs to end in your belief systems, in your higher education, in your truths, beliefs, religions, that's not really working for you. So, and then building anew. The next house that is being highlighted is your 8th house, which the ruler is Scorpio. And the South Node is in here in Sagittarius. So the 8th house represents your inheritance, sex, taxes, being a medium, your shadow side, going deep within, because that's that Scorpio and the Pluto area. But with the South Node there in Sagittarius, that might be your past life gifts, what you've brought in this lifetime to use. It's also can be where you're lazy, your comfort zone, because you've already done this so many lifetimes or so much before that you're not really stretching yourself. You'd have to look to the North Node for where your soul growth would be. So in that, this would help examine, like what I had talked about in your 9th house, your belief systems, because, you know, we have that level of Sagittarius. So looking at religion versus spirituality kind of thing. It could be automatic writing, talking with people that have passed over. And I see a difference with the 8th house as being more of the medium, where the 12th house is more of connecting with your guides, your higher self, where this is, I look to this house for connecting with people that have passed over. Okay. The next house that's being triggered is the 2nd house of your money. The ruler is, the natural ruler is Taurus. So you can have a little bit of bullheadedness, but also very artistic. You have a good eye for art. So you like things nice. So when you do something things that you value, like a home, you would want your home to look very nice at this time. And you might do some rearranging and maybe bring in some new art work. But for your house with Taurus rising, that means that Gemini is here. So in Taurus is your value, or your 2nd house is your values and how you make money. So you might start going into communicating differently with people because of the Gemini. The Gemini can be that flower that butterfly that flips from flower to flower. So you might be looking for doing a lot of research where you're going and gathering some information to network and figuring out what's useful, what's not, you know, cutting through the good stuff and getting rid of the bad, that kind of thing. And Mars is in there with your North Node. So Mars is saying, be aggressive. Mars is that warrior. It's high energy. So you're going to have high energy to address and make money. So you might be taking on more hours at work or taking on a second job with that Mars energy. And then we have the first house, the ruler, natural house is Aries, but you have Taurus on it, because you're Taurus rising, right? And this is how you present yourself. So, in your first house represents your personality and how you show yourself to the world. So, this would be a time that you might upgrade how you dress. You could, if you're a woman, start wearing makeup, do a new haircut, and men could do a new haircut. You know, it's how you present yourself to the world. So you might go through a change with that, a beautification, presenting yourself more artistically or more, just more appealing. And you might go with spurts in this because the planet that's in there is Uranus. And Uranus is like lightning bolt changes. You might just get a hair up your butt that, oh, I'm going to cut my hair all off if your hair is down to your waist and go short. I mean, it's that kind of quick changes. So I hope this was helpful. You can, if you need to figure out what your rising sign is, you could go to my website, shaunasay.com, and I have a link to free astrology charts, so you can find your rising sign there. So go to that link, and I think it's, I put in there Astrology Cafe, or just Google Astrology Cafe and you can get a free chart. Not a reading, but a free chart, and find out what's on your first house. So again, this was Taurus Rising for March 13th. Thank you, and I hope you create some wonderful things this month.